Video gaming has become a culture unto itself. I was going to say popular, but that's an understatement. Yeah. It's become its own culture, with its own language, with its own set of rules and laws and mores. How has it become so popular? What's the draw for my teenager into video gaming?
Yeah. Well, did you play games as a kid at all? Any
sure.
computer games? I was kind of always
computer
really?
Games, no.
Really?
Games, yes.
Yeah. I mean
Sports,
technology
Monopoly,
games. Well, you were more
dice, billiards, ping pong. I played games that actually have to be played.
I was president of the computer club in like 1974. Right?
You and I took different paths. That's why you're the expert and I'm the questioner.
That's right.
Okay. Yes, I played games, but I played games that forced me into a social setting, that forced me into a position where I had to compete, that forced me to develop a skill. Unlike these video games.
No, exactly like these video games. That's the thing.
Really?
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so convince me.
Yeah, I'll try. Going back, so I was a classic nerd, okay? And I have a PhD in computer science. So again, we've followed different paths in our life, obviously. But when I was a kid, as early as I could get my hands on a computer-generated game of some kind, I was all over it. I don't know, no matter what it was, and going all the way back to in television, football with the little running guys, they were like 5 pixels tall, right?
I spent about 5 minutes monkeying with that game.
No, I became very good at it. See, this is the difference, right? Anyway, but going all the way back, but one of the things, there's always a social aspect. Not always. There are games that are sort of patently isolating. You know what I mean? I'm in my little Game Boy, I'm playing what I do, and I'm kind of, in this little world. But even then what happens is that there are elements of the world that create a social level of satisfaction, fill a social need. I mean, and there are kids, maybe I was one of them as a little guy, that are really reclusive, that are very shy, very, very introverted. And in that kind of a world, they can now interact with the world, and they're interacting. That's the thing. They're kind of stretching themselves. But let me bring it all the way forward to, we call them MMORPGs, which is the worst acronym in the world, and you can't pronounce it, unlike a lot of acronyms.
Okay.
And that stands for Massive Multiplayer Online Role-Playing Games.
World of Warcraft. Are you talking about that sort of thing?
That's right. World of Warcraft, RuneScape, EverQuest. There's just a whole bunch of these sorts of games.
People go online as part of teams or platoons.
Right. Guilds, right.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a tremendous social culture in those kinds of environments. And what's really interesting is when games first began, do you remember Pong?
Oh, sure.
I'm sure Pong held
your attention. I spent about 5 minutes with that one, too.
No, I was going to say 30 seconds was probably what Pong held you to, right? Back then, you had to get out there and go throw the football or something, right?
I did.
But you think about Pong, it was still a two-player game, but you could play against the computer, which was fairly boring. What happens is the very first computer games that sort of dealt with people, the people were controlled either automatically by the computer, and they weren't very good at it. It wasn't very convincing. And so what happened when the MMORPGs showed up, we began to have a situation where the other player, and the graphics kept getting better and better. Suddenly the other player isn't controlled by the computer, it's controlled by another person. And so all of a sudden you have this virtual world, which is kind of weird already.
So there is a sort of competition going on now.
Absolutely. There's always some sort of a competition. But even when it's very cooperative, when there's that aspect in the sense of a team or a guild, there's something interesting that happens in the brain when you're dealing with something that's clearly virtual. There's clearly something unreal about it, right? Because you're in a computer environment. But the actions of the computer, what appears to be a computer-generated character, are in fact totally and fully human, because the thing that's controlling it on the other side is in fact a human.
So I, as a parent, need to know how addictive this can be, how attractive it can be for my teenager.
Yeah, and it can be. But for certain people, there's a tremendous draw. A lot of these kids they're a little bit introverted, they're not the most popular kid at school. Maybe they're the overweight kid, not always, right? But maybe they're the kid who's not that popular. But all of a sudden now he's online and he's Lord of the Cave, and he's feared and he's respected, and he's this big, battle troll, and everybody gets out of the way, and he's leading and he's managing. So maybe he's really good at organizational management, right?
Okay.
But he can't do that at school because no one's going to pick him to be on the baseball team. Right?
Sure.
So he can't do it there. He's not going to be elected to student body, right? But now it's a meritocracy. Everybody can succeed as well as anybody else who's willing to put the time in.
He's on a level playing field, is what you're saying.
That's right. So life has been unfair to him. He's the fat kid or the unpopular kid or the, whatever. He's the kid who didn't make the cut socially in the high school. But now he's sitting on a level playing field in a complete meritocracy. And when he sees a level 70 whatever, you know, blood elf, he looks at that and goes, I can do that. And nothing stops me from doing that.
And I, as a caring parent, want to take that away from him. Now I'm thinking on the other side of the coin. I'm in a dilemma.
No, it is, yeah,
I don't want my kid to get too involved.
That's right.
I don't want my kid not to have an outlet to express himself.
Right.
So therein lies the dilemma.
That's right. And I think it is a dilemma. And I think this is one of those issues that comes back to individual parental choice. I mean, it has to, obviously. There is no clear line that you can draw in this domain. I think there are some domains. I'm going to say pornography would be one that I would say, don't go there. To whatever extent you can, don't go there. It's a safer play.
There is some value in my child playing video games.
That's right. That's right. So and some would argue with that, right? Whether there's any value at all. But the reality is that gaming is intrinsic, right? I mean, baby mammals, wolf pups play games. You know, it's built into our nature that we do these things that aren't real. We grow skills, we exercise, we learn whatever. It's inherent in our nature.